What is going on, guys? It's Cameron, and today we are jumping into the Amazing Spider-Man Civil War issue 1 tie-in comic. And I think the easiest way to explain this is just by looking at the front cover. So you've got Iron Man and Captain Marvel that are setting out for this Civil War, but in the center of it you have like all these other characters, and this comic is obviously focusing on Spider-Man's perspective and seeing how he's probably going to look at Ulysses and see how Ulysses can help him, and we can pretty much get Spider-Man's side of things in his opinion and stuff like that. Now, I'm not too sure whether Spider-Man is going to be such a major character as much as he was in the original Civil War comic, but I have a feeling that he is going to play a general part in it. Like, we haven't seen him that much in the Civil War main comic, but we're only 2 issues in, so we'll see where that takes us. So anyway, guys, it's time to get into this review, so let's do it. Okay, so the issue opens up back in New York, and of course, in the recent Amazing Spider-Man comics, Spider-Man hasn't exactly been in New York a lot. He's been in China and stuff like that. He's been in Shanghai, dealing with Mr. Negative and the Zodiac. And so this is the first time in a while where Spider-Man has gone back to New York and he's actually fighting villains, and of course you can tell that it seems that a new Vulture team has randomly come into New York. These are new characters that I haven't seen before, and it's nice to see that these Vultures are actually experiencing Spider-Man for what seems like the very first time. Now, as for the appearance of the characters and what they actually look like, I have to say their costumes actually look pretty cool. Maybe a little bit flashy in terms of bright pink with gold, but they look pretty cool. They look like a team. Well, they were a team until they started messing it up. But I somewhat feel like we should see these guys again in the future. Maybe they come back as maybe better formation or something. Maybe there's more of them. I would like to see them again, especially now that they should have a grudge against Spider-Man for beating them up. Going over onto the art style, as you've already probably noticed, it's a little bit different to the usual Amazing Spider-Man artwork, and you can see the artwork style on Spider-Man himself is a little bit different, but overall it's actually pretty good. Now, getting further into the comic, I was especially happy to see that Ulysses was actually there with Spider-Man whilst he was fighting all of these Vultures, and it seems like maybe Ulysses had a vision and told Spider-Man about it, and then Spider-Man went out and stopped these guys or something like that, because after all, he is on the side of Captain Marvel, or at least for the time being anyway. And I love how much the comic offers us Ulysses and Spider-Man working together, because they really do interact well with each other, and the chemistry between them both is almost like a playful sort of friendship where Ulysses thinks that Spider-Man's job is awesome. He thinks Spider-Man is awesome, but the longer Ulysses hangs out with Spider-Man, the more Ulysses becomes scared of what Spider-Man actually does, like being involved in the situations that Spider-Man gets himself involved in. And it's that sort of playfulness between the two characters that makes the comic refreshing, almost like a bromance, and that's really cool. I was also very intrigued with the characters that are also included in this comic, and a good example is Johnny Storm. Like, he kind of just seems to randomly walk into this comic without any introduction, and it's a nice surprise, and it's especially surprising to the readers because Peter Parker turns on his light switch and Johnny Storm is right there. So the fact that Peter had to turn on the light switch made it seem like not only was it a surprise for Peter Parker to find him there, but it was also a surprise for us as well, so that was pretty awesome to see. So moving onwards into the comic, as you can see, Ulysses has had a vision of this guy shooting 2 people, and they are just going to follow this guy to see whether this vision actually comes true. Now luckily Spider-Man gets in there just in time, because this guy was genuinely going to kill people this time, so this vision did come true. And I think the reason why Spider-Man is on Captain Marvel's side in this Civil War 2 is because right here on the screen, Spider-Man sees how his actions stopped these 2 lovely people from being shot. And what I mean by that is he saw it firsthand. He saw the emotional impact it had on them. He saw how important Ulysses' visions are, even if they don't come true. And I think what just happened there actually put something in Spider-Man's head that's going to shift him more over to Captain Marvel's side. So I'm kind of not expecting Spider-Man to go over to Iron Man's side in this Civil War, unless something major happens, like Aunt May gets shot again or something, I don't know. Especially because Spider-Man realizes that Ulysses can actually use his visions to help out Parker Industries with like products and, you know, creating medical supplies and stuff like that, seeing what works before they create it. And so it's coming across as if Spider-Man seems to be wanting to take the risk of altering the future if it saves millions. So instead of sitting back and waiting and watching things happen then dealing with the consequences, he would rather get in there early and do what he can to save as many people as he can. Now, in my opinion, if this does actually happen with Spider-Man, then I kind of feel like this is only happening because Spider-Man owns a company, so he's more or less looking at the bigger picture, but Usually Spider-Man would probably go on Iron Man's side, but I think because of Parker Industries and because he's worldwide now, he has to look at it on a different scale. And so I really appreciate where Spider-Man's coming from, and I understand that if that does indeed happen. But right now, I just feel like Spider-Man's in the middle a little bit. Now, we do actually get a shocking twist towards the end. Ulysses has another vision whilst he's being taken on a tour by Spider-Man around Parker Industries. And of course, he meets Norman Osborn and he meets Clayton Cole. Now, Clayton actually used to be a villain in the Spider-Man universe until recently, or well, I won't say recently, but fairly recently, near the Spider-Verse event. Spider-Man actually recruited Clayton to try and rehabilitate himself to stop him from becoming a villain again and actually put his skills to good use at Parker Industries. And so it seems like Clayton is actually going to go off the hinges a little bit and create some kind of supersonic suit. That might be actually his original villain costume, but I'm not too sure. To be honest, him as a villain kind of reminds me of that Sonic guy out of Batman Beyond, you know, the TV series. So really interesting stuff, but that's a little bit of a twist towards the end of the issue, and it's going to be interesting to see why Clayton turns back to being a villain. And if I have to give a theory, I feel like maybe one of Clayton's family members dies, and maybe he figures out that Spider-Man could see the future to stop it and he didn't, or something like that. Maybe something along those lines. We'll have to see how that plays out. But guys, that is the end of this issue. What did you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, before we finish this review, I do need to tell you guys that this issue takes place before Civil War issue 2. So really, the order is Civil War issue 1, then it's this issue, then it's Civil War issue 2. I just kind of uploaded them in the wrong order, so sorry about that. But if you're watching this in a playlist, then hopefully it should already be in order. But if it's not, then, well, now you know. So I'm going to give this issue an 8 out of 10 anyway, guys. It was really interesting. The artwork was really interesting as well. The inclusion of those vultures at the very beginning were pretty cool, and I hope to see those guys again. But the twist at the very end, and obviously the impact from when Spider-Man stops that crime, seems like it may take a bit of a toll on Spider-Man in terms of what his decision will be when choosing sides between Captain Marvel and Iron Man. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And I'm also very interested to know what Ulysses will bring to Parker Industries for their future. Like, will he affect their future and cause Parker Industries to be better than Alchemax or something like that? Who knows? But anyway, guys, that is it for this review. That is it for this video. Go to the links in the description to follow me on Twitter and Facebook. You can support this channel by clicking the button on the YouTube banner. And last but not least, guys, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you like this YouTube channel, and I'll see you all next time.